Greetings, fellow birders. I am preparing to travel to some sewage treatment ponds. Now, you may be wondering why on earth I want to go to a sewage lagoon. Rest assured, I don't plan on going for a swim, but my target bird species certainly may. I'll be looking for two black-bellied whistling ducks that were seen just a few days earlier. This species has become more regular in Iowa in recent years, but they're still far from a common sight. I've observed black-bellied whistling ducks on 2 other occasions in Iowa, but seeing these beautiful and unusual looking ducks is always a treat. Let's see what we can find. I was surprised by the substantial number of birds that I saw on the gravel roads near the sewage lagoons. The power lines adjacent to the roads were sagging under the weight of so many birds. Swallows were the most numerous birds that I saw perched on these wires, with hundreds of cliff swallows being in the majority. Here, a couple of young cliff swallows were getting some rest after stretching their newly developed flight muscles. There were also plenty of tree swallows around. Seeing the beautiful blue color of this swallow, illuminated by the morning sun, was mesmerizing. Underneath the swallows was this delightful eastern kingbird that was perched on a T-post. This confiding flycatcher showed me its red crown patch, a feature that I have rarely had the pleasure of witnessing. Also nearby were several blackbirds, including this common grackle that recently fledged. It's good to see that these near-threatened birds had a successful breeding season. I was intrigued to see this European starling, as this bird was an adult without a yellow bill. This means that it must be transitioning to its non-breeding plumage that features a dark bill. Alright, this morning has gotten off to an even better start than I expected. Birds are absolutely everywhere. It seems that the local birds had a really good breeding season, as there are tons of little birds that just learned to fly. Now, let's go find those black-bellied whistling ducks. Upon arrival at the sewage lagoons, my eyes were first drawn to several sizable groups of trumpeter swans. These birds were all adults, sporting their bright white plumage, but none of them had any babies. My guess is that these birds were born in the last year or two, and that they have not yet reached breeding age. I found a double-crested cormorant standing with one group of trumpeter swans, but this bird must not have been comfortable hanging out with these giants, as it soon took off. This seems to be the time of year when Canada geese are molting their feathers, rendering them flightless, as this gaggle of geese looked especially raggedy. The geese picked a good spot to be temporarily flightless, as this fenced-in sewage lagoon is a safe, predator-free location for them. As I watched the awkward geese move about the sewage lagoons, my eyes focused on 4 long-legged waterfowl on the levee between the 2 lagoons. It's the black-bellied whistling ducks, and instead of the 2 that were previously reported, there were 4 present today. Double trouble. Heck yeah, super hyped to get those black-bellied whistling ducks. I was a bit worried they wouldn't be there since no one had checked on them in a few days, but there they were. A new county bird for me, and the 3rd time I've observed these goofy ducks in Iowa. These black-bellied whistling ducks didn't put on much of a show, as they spent most of their time resting and preening. However, there were a few instances where they stood up and allowed me to see their pink bills. You'll notice that this species looks strange compared to other ducks. That's because their long and unusual looking bodies are adapted for perching in trees, as black-bellied whistling ducks are one of only a few North American ducks that breed in tree cavities. Seeing these ducks was incredible. What an absolute treat. The good birds didn't end with the black-bellied whistling ducks, as I got a bonus bird as I was about to leave when a black tern briefly stopped to forage over the lagoons. This nimble bird is already headed south to its wintering grounds in Central or South America, after breeding in Minnesota or southern Canada. Okay, my fellow birders, that's going to be a wrap for this Worldwide Birder quest. Let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite bird from this episode? Also, if you've seen a black-bellied whistling duck before, drop it down below. Thanks for tagging along with me, everyone. I hope to see you on my next Worldwide Birder adventure.